Have you ever thought about how often you say, yes, when, deep down, you wanted to say, no? How many times have you put yourself second to avoid disappointing others, even if it leaves you feeling uncomfortable, overwhelmed, or even unhappy? That's the hallmark of people-pleasing, the impulse to make others happy at the cost of your own well-being. And, believe me, it's more common than you might think. But why do we do this? Why is it so hard for some of us to set boundaries and simply say, no? The truth is that the desire to please is deeply ingrained in our behavior and often in our upbringing. From a young age, we're encouraged to seek approval, to be good, to avoid causing problems. As we grow up, we continue this cycle, wanting to be liked and accepted, and what happens? We become prisoners of others' opinions, and worst of all, we forget about ourselves. The good news is that it's possible to break free from this cycle. You can reclaim your life and stop living according to others' expectations. In this video, I'll show you how you can stop being a people pleaser and finally take control of your journey. Recognizing the pattern. The first step is to realize that you have this behavior. There's no point in trying to change if you don't even recognize it as a problem. And, honestly, this is one of the hardest steps, because the habit of pleasing is so ingrained that we don't even notice it. You know that feeling of guilt that hits every time you say, no? Or the anxiety that arises when you know you might disappoint someone? These are warning signs. Or maybe you're the kind of person who always says, yes, even if it's going to overload you or you're not really interested. These are classic behaviors of someone who constantly wants to please. Take a moment and think. How many times have you committed to something just to avoid upsetting someone? How many times have you held back from expressing your true opinion out of fear of not being accepted? These are clear examples of people-pleasing in action. Where does the desire to please come from? This behavior often stems from a need to be accepted and to avoid conflict. We learn that pleasing people makes us liked and avoids trouble. For many, this starts in childhood, when we seek approval from our parents, teachers, or friends. Over time, this becomes an automatic habit, and without realizing it, we carry it into adulthood. There's also a big self-esteem issue involved. Many people who go to great lengths to please others actually have low self-esteem. They don't believe they're good enough or deserve respect and acceptance as they are. To compensate for this insecurity, they seek external approval. And there's more. The fear of rejection is also powerful. We become someone who says, yes, to everything because we're afraid of what others will think if we say, no. But think about it. Do you really want a life where your happiness depends on others' opinions? The impact of people pleasing on your life. Being a people pleaser is not only inconvenient, it deeply affects various areas of your life. First, there's the emotional impact. People who live to please others are constantly sacrificing themselves, and often this leads to feelings of frustration and emptiness. After all, you're constantly giving up your own desires and dreams to meet others' expectations. There's also the physical side. The emotional strain ends up affecting our bodies. Anxiety, stress, and even physical symptoms like headaches, sleep problems, and fatigue can be caused by people pleasing. Not to mention, living to please others can make you miss out on opportunities since you dedicate so much time and energy to others' needs that you end up neglecting your own. And you know what's worse? People pleasing doesn't guarantee that people will like you more. In fact, many people don't even notice the effort you make to please them. And, in a way, it's our own fault because we've taught people to treat us like this. When you're always saying, yes, and never setting limits, you become the person who will always be there to solve things, even if it means sacrificing your own well-being. How to start changing. So, how do you change this? How do you stop being a people pleaser and regain control of your life? Well, the first step is simple in theory but a bit challenging in practice. Learn to say, no. Yes, I know, it sounds easy, but we all know it isn't. Saying, no, can feel uncomfortable, but it's an act of self-respect. Next time someone asks you to do something you really don't want or can't do, try saying, no, politely, without long explanations. A simple, I'm sorry, but I can't help with that right now, will do. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Gradually, you'll see how this will give you a sense of freedom. Sure, some people might be surprised at first, but people adjust. And so will you. Setting boundaries. Besides learning to say no, you need to set boundaries. Boundaries are like fences that protect your personal and emotional space. Without them, you'll continue to feel invaded and, worse, will allow others to make decisions about your life. Ask yourself, what is acceptable for me? How far can I go without compromising my health, well-being, and goals? When you set clear boundaries, you start to attract people who respect them. And don't worry about those who drift away. Those who truly value you will understand and respect. Building your self-esteem. And here's a key point. Build your self-esteem. If you feel you always need to please others, it may be because you don't yet value who you truly are. So, start working on that. Make a list of your qualities, your accomplishments, and recognize your worth. Develop the habit of celebrating small daily victories. These actions may seem simple, but they're powerful steps to strengthening your self-confidence. Believe me, when you start valuing yourself, you naturally stop seeking external approval. You realize you don't need to be perfect, you don't need to please everyone, and that the people who truly matter will respect you as you are. Building an authentic life. Is it possible to build an authentic life, where you're the main character and not living for others' expectations? Absolutely. And, in fact, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. When you stop trying to please everyone and start focusing on what really matters to you, everything begins to align. This doesn't mean you'll never help or please others. The difference is that you'll do it genuinely, because you want to, not because you feel obligated. By leaving people pleasing behind, you begin to build more genuine relationships, and most importantly, a life that truly makes sense for you. So, are you ready to take the first step and regain control of your life? If you're committed to your personal development and want to keep evolving and leveling up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here, I always bring practical and powerful content to help you keep growing. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure to leave a like so that more people can be impacted as well. In the description, you'll find links to books that I've carefully selected, works that can completely transform the way you think and act. It's definitely worth checking out. And don't leave just yet. Take a look at the suggested videos here on the screen. They will help you even more on your personal development journey. See you there.